Rahim. My dear viewers, this is part 6, how to prepare for a for a Viva, PhD Viva. Part 6, this is about chapter 2, literature review. Some questions will be asked to you when chapter 1 is finished. The examiner who is responsible to review chapter 2 will start asking you questions. So this is part 6 about chapter 2 literature review, how to answer those questions. There can be different types of questions with no guarantee what type of question they can ask. But I want to discuss something that is very important. For example, the questions can be asked, what's original about your work? The originality is your sources, that you have used the sources and referencing. That's the originality. And nobody has already discuss this topic. It's the first time you are doing it, and also in chapter 1 you have proved uh, that there was a problem statement, there was a gap, that's why there is necessary to fill the gap. This research is necessary. And maybe you will, most of the researchers use litmus test. Litmus test is a test where you ground the theories, make some work that, for example, worldwide, then bring it to Asia, then bring it to your region. So maybe you have I studied 500 theses that used by using litmus test that nobody already had this topic which I have taken. So the topic should be new and novel. Nobody already had a research on it. So that's the originality. Then what are the practical applications of your research? You can say there are different types of research. When you finish your no research is perfect because it leaves some room for future research. But however, it can, for example, you are doing a reading aloud strategies, you can say these are how much percent they are successful, so they can bring change not only at lower level but at a higher level, at university level also, because mostly probably people are using at schools. There can be, for example, as I previously I told you, if you are doing research on, you are a researcher of physics, they bring an ultrasound, or you can say this MRI technology can bring revolutions, new technology nobody has used in this region before. So geographically, the gap can be filled. Gap can be filled with the research methodology. So literature review is one of the chapters that you review previous knowledge you have. It has been literature review shows that you have enough knowledge for your research. You know much about it. If you can use litmus test, but literature review also a type of many other works already done on this issue, and you see that they have done, but they have not touched the point which you are doing it. So, what is the key focus of research? You know your research. It is about, for example, if somebody is doing on theories, you can use cognitive or metacognitive theories. That's the main focus, use of theories. Then we can ask you, where can we locate the originality in your paper? That's already I have answered this question. Why did you feel it necessary to spend your sources in this area of study? Because you can say this topic has a great interest for me. That's why I started working on it. Which pertinent research paper did you use in your research? So research papers, a lot of research papers you can say you have used. Almost nowadays, the limit of thesis is 100,000 words in most of the universities. And references, you have a lot of references. And you can say that you use more than 200 references or maybe 100 references. And that is the research paper you studied, and then you completed your literature review. Can you name 3 remarkable research papers in this stream? Yeah, you must know the best 3 research papers which you have already used. For example, the research of Noam Chomsky, if you are doing on applied linguistics, research of, if you are doing on theories, you know the best people in theories, and you can, for example, as I told you, this is the best researcher like Plano, Creswell, and also the theories, those who have developed theories. And next question, which aspect of your research are you looking forward to being published? So this is very important because every research has a lot of research. A researcher can publish out of his research paper a lot of research. For example, when I finished my thesis, I had 6 to 7 research papers out of my thesis. So that's the answer. You can say 6 or 5, whatever it is, and they can ask you. You can say every variable is self-research paper, which you have started in the beginning from chapter 1 and you have come to conclusion chapter 5 or 6. Give us some insight into the reference in your thesis. So you can say the references, the reference style you have used. There are different reference styles: APA style, American Psychological Association style. There is the other Vancouver style. So you can say there is Chicago style, there is MLA style. So a lot of research styles. What university has approved, most probably universities they in medical education, both American Psychological Association style APA and Vancouver style are popular. But in applied linguistics, humanities, social sciences, APA is used. So you can tell them whatever you have used. Give us some insight into the reference in your thesis. As I already, you can tell them, elaborate on how your findings relate to literature in your field. So the findings, be careful when you are discussing in literature review, your different citations, you have different references, you have shared a lot of work. And when you come to the findings, so your findings should relate to your chapter 2 and chapter 1. So you can show them that you have already discussed, and some of yours, it is not necessary that all of your findings relate to these. Some results can be different, and you have discussed more what is opposite, what is in favor. Both the findings that relate or that do not relate, you can discuss. How is your research project relevant to your fellow researchers? So this is also one of the things that is very important. Fellow researchers, you can see, you can say the fellow researchers have a lot of different type of research topics. If somebody has a reading comprehension, his point of view, his point he has taken is different. Somebody has writing, somebody has accent. So it depends on your topic. You have to answer this one. That is actually, it varies from subject to subject. So the other thing that is most probably is necessary is they can ask you about theoretical framework, because most of the research papers have theoretical frameworks, okay, and theoretical frameworks can be, for example, I can show you theoretical framework, and if you can see the screen now. This is a theoretical framework. They can ask you, first understand what is a theoretical framework. A theoretical framework, this is conceptual framework. First, I'm discussing conceptual framework. A conceptual framework is actually according to the variables, okay? You have independent variables, I mean independent variable, do you mean dependent variables? So what is the role of independent variables and dependent variables? That's your conceptual framework. You try to understand. So you can discuss what was your independent variable, what were your dependent variables, and how they will work. So that's this question can be asked, and you already know it. And the second important question they can ask about theoretical framework. You can look here, theoretical. What is theoretical framework? There's a lot of difference between conceptual framework and a theoretical framework. A theoretical framework is actually about theories. For example, this research has cognitive, metacognitive. It is a research of applied linguistics. So these theories, how these theories work, look at these arrows, how they work on your variables. Okay, and what was the independent? They work on. How did they work on independent variables and dependent variables? So that is actually theoretical framework. You must understand. They can ask you a question about research design also. You can see research design. For example, this research has concurrent triangulation design. It's a mixed method. So you can have data according to your quantitative data, qualitative, and then you because a triangulation. Then you analyze the data, compare the data. So these are different types of questions they can ask you. So this is about chapter 2. So the next video we will have will be then the next video will be about because before going to a Viva, there is a departmental Viva, or they ask you departmental colloquium. So you go and you defend your first in pre-viva, then you come in colloquium. Colloquium is the same. If you pass colloquium, then you are able to sit in the viva. Okay, I pass colloquium. That is why I'm allowed to sit in the viva. So this is one of the requirements. So in most of the universities they have colloquium. That's the type of practice that they call outside examiners, the highly qualified examiner. They judge you and they point out your errors. So that's what we are going to discuss in next video, part 7. So hopefully you will like. Please do not forget to subscribe this channel. My hard work and my experience I'm sharing with you. Please you can acknowledge it by subscribing my channel. Thank you very much, and wait for the next video on how to prepare for a Viva, before Viva a colloquium. Okay, inshallah. Thank you very much. Bye.